We are sailing today from the launching ramp in Catalina Park at Rathmines on Lake Macquarie. The ramp is the site of the former RAAF Flying Boat Base. What's not often appreciated is that in addition to the large repurposed buildings that were once part of the base infrastructure, there is another area here to the west where the bush has reclaimed the roads and buildings that were once part of the base. The base was not just here at Rathmines either. Over the lake at Wangi Point is the remains of the base's anti-aircraft battery. The remains of the World War II radar station for the base can still be seen on the coast at Catherine Hill Bay. So the first part of the raid is from the former RAAF base at Rathmines with a run down Killaman Bay before heading north up Lake Macquarie to have lunch at Bolton Point. Surveys of the site were made in August 1939, and by September 1939 a camp had been set up. The base became operational when the No. 9 Squadron transferred from RAAF Point Cook in Victoria to Rathmines with Seagull flying boats. Catalina flying boats arrived at the base in February 1941, and by September 1943 the base comprised 14 Catalinas, 2 Seagulls and a number of other plane types. Catalinas and aircrews from Rathmines were involved in the defence of Australia in war events such as the Battle of the Coral Sea and the mining of Manila Harbour, which involved 24 RAAF Catalinas, 8 of which were from No. 11 Squadron aircraft, which originated from Rathmines. 320 officers and other ranks from the base lost their lives during the war. The base reached its peak strength of almost 3,000 officers and other ranks in 1944 to 1945 and was the largest flying boat base in Australia. After the RAAF retired its flying boats in 1952, the base was used as a ground training base for, amongst others, officers, senior non-commissioned officers, physical training instructors, national servicemen and recruits until being closed in 1961. The large hangar was pulled down and shipped to RAAF Base Richmond to house the RAAF's then new C-130 Hercules aircraft. I have a rather unusual personal connection with the base. When it closed, my closest school friend's father bought one of the base chase boats and renamed it the Joy Merle, and we spent many fun times on her. One of the mooring buoys for the Catalinas was also anchored as the finishing line mark for many years, where I learned to sail at Teralba Amateur Sailing Club.
Kate Louise, this is Italian, over, Italian.
Oh, give me steady, steady.
I must admit, your last video is fantastic.
It's amazing what you can do. It's lucky my son wants to show the iPhone I've got for 5 minutes.
While the next part of the raid was a bit slow to begin with, it quickly turned into an exhilarating run from Bolton Point to Pulborough Island. Well, the nor'easter has finally blown in. Hopefully the temperature will drop because it's nearly killing us. Isn't it, Georgie? What do you reckon? I was almost going to take you home. Sadly, I had to leave the raid early. However, despite the bleak weather, the run home was quite pleasant. Rathmines is known for the Catalinas, but in an odd turn of events that only a war could produce, another type of seaplane was also operated out of Rathmines. As the Japanese invasion of the Netherlands East Indies commenced, 5 Dutch seaplanes designated X5, X7, X8, X9 and X10 were transferred to Australia on 19 February 1942. These formed up at RAAF Rathmines in March 1942 to continue Dutch naval crew training before being taken over by the Royal Australian Air Force. Once training was completed, the Dutch crews were shipped to America and on to England to fight in the European theatre. The planes were then taken over by the RAAF and saw service until they were retired in 1944. When Australian crews came to fly them, they were puzzled to find that the controls, dials and manuals were all written in German. It took a bit of retraining before the planes could be flown. This is because the planes were in fact German Dornier Do-24s that were also on active service with the Nazis in Europe. Some of these Dorniers are still around rural Australia, including this one still in use as a futuristic houseboat at Echuca on the Murray River.